Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here today to introduce Mark Carney, because Mark Carney is one of the reasons I decided to run in this election. I did not plan to be here, but when Pierre Poilievre became the leader of the Conservatives and Donald Trump threatened our sovereignty and our economy, I could not look away. And when Mark Carney stepped up to make Canada strong, I knew I had to join him to meet this moment. Our future is at stake. Canada's future, Niagara's future. And I will not let Niagara down, and Mark Carney will not let Canada down. I have grown up here. I live in this riding. You know me. I have a long record of serving our community. My experience as a business leader, municipal councillor, and regional councillor has put me in the right place for you at these unprecedented times. I plan to represent you in Ottawa. I am ready to fight for our community and our country and our values. This will likely be one of the most important elections, an unprecedented time of our lifetime. Mark Carney has already stood up to Donald Trump, and he is the right person at the right time. So please welcome our leader who will build Niagara and Canada strong, our Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea. Nothing is going to blow Andrea off course. Thank you for that kind introduction, my fellow Liberal candidates. Thank you for joining me this morning. You know, our country appreciates your putting your hands up to serve at this crucial time. And I'm going to up Andrea a bit. I think this is the biggest crisis of our lifetime. You know, Canada and America have been friends for a long time. And like any sets of friends, we don't always see eye to eye. But when push has come to shove in the past, we've always been there for each other for over 150 years. We found a way, and when those differences have come along, we found a way in a Canadian fashion to disagree agreeably. We've really chosen diplomacy over division. But more often than not, what we've done is we've drawn on shared values, including commitment to democracy, commitment to rule of law, pursuit of shared prosperity, peace, and a willingness to stand by each other's side. And really that kinship is symbolized here behind me at Niagara Falls. You know, the falls come from the same river, divides into two very different experiences. Of course, it's a much more beautiful experience on the Canadian side, as we want to point out. Everyone knows. But after those different experiences, that river through the falls reunites. Obviously, each side of the falls, each side of the river, there's town with the same name. And over really centuries have shown the value of collaboration over conflict. Collaboration being the path to great prosperity, because we share a stake in each other's success in Niagara Falls and between Canada and the United States. Unfortunately, that attitude, that approach is changing, and it wasn't us that has done the changing. Maintenant, les menaces tarifaires de président Trump, des tarifs de fentanyl, des tarifs sur l'acier et l'aluminium, des tarifs sur les véhicules, des tarifs perspectives de bois d'œuvre, des tarifs perspectives de la cuivre et d'autres, les pharmaceutiques, des produits pharmaceutiques, pardon. Et tous les tarifs, ils menacent nos travailleurs, ils menacent nos entreprises, ils menacent nos retraités. What's happening, and we've recognized this for a while, that President Trump is trying to fundamentally restructure, reorder the international trading system. And in the process, he is rupturing, literally rupturing the global economy, and he's putting in jeopardy the lives of hundreds of thousands, the livelihoods of millions of Canadians, including in communities such as Niagara Falls here. We recognize that the relationship that Canada has had with the United States, one that for more than 40 years has been based on steadily deepening integration, is over. Now that's a tragedy, but it's also a reality. And the key question in this election is who is best placed to respond? Who will stand up to President Trump? Who will stand up for Canadians? And who will manage through this chaos that has been created across that border, this chaos that's coming into our lives? Who is best placed to manage through that, not just manage through it, but to create a better future for all? Now, I, for better or worse, have managed crises almost all my professional life. I helped us manage through the 2008 financial crisis. I helped guide the UK through the Brexit turmoil. I think I know not just what it takes to survive a crisis, to get through a crisis, but what it takes to emerge stronger than before. I know from experience that when you're in a crisis, you don't hope for the best, you have to plan for the worst. And in this crisis, it means preparing for America's threats to our very sovereignty. I think it's clear the U.S. wants our land, wants our resources, wants our water, wants our country. What's happening is these tariffs, these threats, with them, President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. Now, that will never happen. That will never happen. Canada is not America. It will never be part of America. But we need a plan to deal with this new reality. Because, and I know this from experience, that in a crisis, plan beats no plan. A plan provides direction in the fog of uncertainty. A plan provides purpose. It rallies the team. It drives action. The third thing I know from experience in a crisis is that you have to act with overwhelming force. You need that force to overcome the anxieties that, I think we all feel, but people feel, companies feel in a crisis. You need that force to break through uncertainty. And you need that force to replace what a crisis takes away. It's said that there are no atheists in foxholes. There should be no libertarians in a crisis. What happens in a crisis is the private sector retreats. Government needs to step up. Government must lead and catalyze private investment. Now, I know, I think you all feel, but I know from traveling across our great country that Canadians are ready to step up. And Canadians don't want to just resist. Canadians are determined to win. And our task over the next weeks, months, and years is to think big and to act bigger. And that's what my government's platform, which we will unveil tomorrow, that's what my government's platform, our strategy, our plan will do. Because we are Canada. We are a free, sovereign, and independent and ambitious country. We have agency, we have power. We're masters in our own home. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. Nous pouvons contrôler notre destin économique. Notre choix est de se battre, protéger et bâtir. Nous allons nous battre contre les tarifs injustifiés du président Trump avec des contre-tarifs qui auront un impact maximal aux États-Unis et un impact minimal ici au Canada. Nous allons utiliser chaque dollar tiré de ces contre-tarifs pour soutenir les travailleurs, les entreprises et les communautés comme Niagara Falls, malgré elles, sont plus affectées. Nous allons protéger les Canadiens et les Canadiennes face à la violence armée, au trafic de drogue, en bâtissant des frontières plus fortes. Et avec plus d'agents frontaliers, des chiens détecteurs, des drones et des scanners. But above all, what we will do is build a new Canadian economy. A new Canadian economy with the most ambitious housing plan since the Second World War. We will build more clean and conventional energy to make Canada into an energy superpower. We will build more good paying, not just jobs, more good paying careers through generational investments in the skilled trades. We'll build more national parks, more safe, healthy communities. We'll build more of everything that's needed to have the strongest economy in the G7, an economy that works for everyone. We will build Canada strong, Canada free, a Canada that's forever independent of the United States and that helps lead the world. Mais, cela dit, des jours difficiles nous attendent. Nous devons être réalistes. Il y a beaucoup de chemin à faire. Je sais que beaucoup de personnes sont inquiètes face au futur. Les changements profonds comme ceux que nous vivons aujourd'hui sont bouleversants. Mais nous pouvons nous appuyer les uns sur les autres. We are so much powerful. We are so much more powerful when we act together. You know, standing here, we're reminded of Canadians who provided refuge to stranded passengers in Gander, to helping forest fires be fought in California, to doing extraordinary things for Americans when they needed it. But now, more than ever, what we need to do is extraordinary things for ourselves. We'll need to do things that we previously thought were impossible at speeds that we hadn't seen in generations. But we will do them and we will win. America is divided. This will make them weaker with time. We are uniting. This will make us stronger. We can give ourselves so much more than the Americans can ever take away. So it's time to chart our own path, to realize our own potential, to build Canada strong. Thank you. Merci. I'd be happy to take your questions.
Question period. We'll start with the first question from the delegation and then go to local media if time allows. First question, Mike.
Okay.
Yesterday in the debate, you said that Canada-U.S. relations is an affordability issue. I want you to expand on that a little bit because you've already said in this tariff war what you would do for workers, but what specifically would you do to help with the affordability issue that Canadians are living through right now?
Yeah, well, okay, Mike, if I understand your question, you're trying to narrow the affordability issue to the tariff element of it, or do you want to talk on consumer specifically? Well, that's okay. So that has been fundamental to the way that we have focused our counter tariffs, which is to minimize the impact on consumers. So the goods that we're targeting have Canadian alternatives or other alternatives. And in many cases, particularly with respect to consumer goods, Canadians are voting with their wallets, voting with their choices. They're making choices to support Canada. And I'm very proud of that, and I expect that to continue. So the core of what I was addressing yesterday is that we are taking the affordability aspect of this trade war into account. We're being smart about how we target the U.S. tariffs. It's one of the reasons, there are many, but it's one of the reasons why, given the scale of U.S. tariffs now, we are not matching the U.S. tariffs dollar for dollar. I'll give you your follow-up.
You had just said in your speech right now that America is divided and that is making them weaker. We are united, and that will make us stronger. There's a sentiment in the western part of this country that runs counter to that. How do you reconcile how people are feeling out west with what you just said now?
Well, look, I think I'd say we are uniting. That's a dynamic. I think that there is a sense, and I am from the West. There is a sense of shared purpose in the West as well. That's coming together, and even though there are sometimes differences, different levels of government. I'll give you an example. We've 3 weeks ago. A lot has been packed into the last 3 weeks. Maybe I'll round it to 4 weeks. 4 weeks ago, this Friday, today actually, we met as first ministers and all the premiers, which by definition includes all the Western premiers, agreed to a strategy, a common strategy for one Canadian economy, a strategy to build energy and trade corridors, how to go about that. Subsequent to that meeting, that agreement, I have laid out some of the main elements of how we would deliver on that. So part of this, there is a shared sense of purpose. There is a dynamic that's there. There's a lot to build on. And I'm committed that if we are elected, that my government will deliver. Will deliver for all Canada, and very much including Western Canada. Thank you.
Justin Ling, freelance. Last night at the debate, you said the single greatest threat facing Canada was China. I'm hoping you can expand on that a little bit and tell me a bit about how our current relationship with the U.S. impacts that threat, and specifically how you would stand up for the sovereignty of Taiwan, given the current chaos and uncertainty.
Well, there's several aspects to China. I'm very clear-eyed about China. It is the second largest economy in the world. It is our second largest trading partner. It is also, and I'll choose my words carefully, given that I'm briefed on these matters and have my security clearance and do that. It is one of the largest threats to, with respect to foreign interference, which we have to counter, and we are countering. It is a partner, more than that, with Russia, and is supporting them in its unjustified invasion, illegal invasion of Ukraine. It is a threat within broader Asia and to Taiwan, and so we both have to engage with China, take steps to protect ourselves here, take steps, for example, which we have done in the last few weeks, steps to protect the Arctic. China is a threat, becoming an emerging threat to the Arctic, which is why we will now have, one of the reasons why we'll now have year-round presence in the Arctic, why we have over the horizon radar struck with Australia, why we have announced that we're going to reinforce our icebreakers and our military capabilities in the Arctic. So, as from a geopolitical sense, the biggest threat, we're taking action to address. En français, c'est la menace chinoise. Pour moi, c'est clair. La Chine est l'économie, la deuxième économie mondiale. C'est notre partenaire commercial. En effet, c'est le deuxième partenaire commercial ici. Mais probablement, c'est une des pays qui est une source de l'ingérence étrangère ici au Canada. Ça, c'est clair. Il est un partenaire militaire avec la Russie et la Chine menace des pays, quelques pays en Asie, y compris évidemment Taïwan. Et point final pour nous au Canada, la Chine menace l'Arctique. Notre Arctique. Et c'est une des raisons pour lesquelles nous avons investi, ou nous commençons d'investir, c'est plus correct, nous commençons d'investir sur le radar avec l'Australie, et on a renforcé nos forces armées en Arctique. Merci.
Just very quickly, if possible. Can we afford to have a trade war with both of our largest trading partners, especially as Europe looks to open the door to China once more?
Well, I think two things. One, the system as a whole is being reordered. The trading system is being reordered. In my view, we will end up with different levels of engagement. The world of which we are a part will end up with different levels of engagement with different countries depending on the degree to which values are shared. And that level of shared values with the U.S. is shifting, so our level of engagement will shift. There's a bigger gap, there's a very large gap with respect to China, obviously, which has implications already for our trade and will be going forward. There are huge opportunities in Europe, in ASEAN, Mercosur, other parts of the world where we can further deepen, and we should, and I think we will. So, thank you.
Hi, this is Catherine with the Canadian Press. Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet today called for the abolition of the Debates Commission following several incidents that took place this week. I'm wondering if you think it's time to reform or dismantle the commission.
Well, look, I'll say a couple of things about the debates. I think it was probably both the best and worst of times, if you will, for the debates. As a participant in the debate, and others will judge, you will judge, and Canadians most importantly will judge. I thought the way the debates were structured and moderated, and I pay tribute to Mr. Hua and Mr. Pekin. I thought they were well moderated and structured, and that there was an exchange of ideas. There's a lot more issues, and one would always wish that there were a lot more time to fully develop the ideas, but in the constraints of time and others, it was well structured. And so the debates themselves, I don't know, as I say, others will judge, I thought were good. There was obviously that was not the case, and you would know best, the media would know best how the media side was handled. And so there's definitely lessons that can be learned from that. I think there is value, though, in having an independent group that sets the terms of this. I would suggest that probably the best thing is a period of reflection, and then the Parliament, reflects and has some, can feedback or a process to feedback on how things can be improved. It was unfortunate that I'll just state the obvious. It is absolutely right and necessary and appropriate. It's not after the debate to take your questions, and that couldn't happen last night. That was I regret that. And well, this is a substitute for it. It's not a full substitute because obviously it's a subset of the media that's here for the questions. En français, courtement, c'est pour moi, le débat actuel était favorable. Il y a des bons échanges. Les modérateurs sont très capables. Et puis, et la structure, ça marche. Pour moi, ça marche. Mais c'est pour les Canadiens d'être les juges. Mais en ce qui concerne les enjeux avec les conférences de presse et tout cela, c'est une tragédie. Alors, pour moi, il y a un avantage d'avoir une commission indépendante qui font des décisions, mais ça vaut, ce sera une bonne idée d'avoir une période de réflexion et que une comité ou un aspect de Parlement pourrait faire des réformes. Okay?
And on another topic, today Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said that he will end the ban the Liberals enacted on plastic items and the plan to require more plastics to include recycled content. So I'm wondering if a Liberal government under your leadership will maintain those policies.
Well, I'm losing track of how many sort of American imports. It seems like some of the only imports that are going up from the U.S. are policies from south of the border. Look, the restrictions that are in place all have readily affordable, broadly affordable options. So I don't see the need to follow the U.S. either in terms of the respect for rule of judgments of judges. U.S. firearm policy or with respect to plastics. We make our own decisions here in Canada. Thank you.
Last
Bonjour,
question.
Monsieur Carney.
Sorry, we'll just do one last question from the delegation before going to local media.
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Pour suivre le débat sur le débat, considérez-vous que les organisations comme Rebel News, comme Juno, comme True North sont des organisations médiatiques? Est-ce qu'on peut les appeler des journalistes?
C'est difficile. Hein. C'est un des avantages d'avoir une commission indépendante qui fait des... je sais. Mais pour un politicien de faire des jugements sur la qualité de la média, ça, pour moi, ça m'inquiète un peu. Okay? I would prefer, in these circumstances, to have independent judges of the media and the appropriate media. I have many reservations about some of these organizations, but I don't want to be the. I think as a politician, making those determinations is it makes me uncomfortable for me to be judging on media quality in that regard. I would rather err on having more robust questioning than the other side.
Je voudrais vous emmener sur l'entente sur les tiers pays sûrs qui repose sur le fondement. Le fondement de l'entente, c'est que le premier pays où les demandeurs d'asile arrivent sont sûrs. Considérez-vous que les États-Unis, étant donné que des migrants sont envoyés dans des prisons au Salvador ou à Guantanamo, est-ce que vous considérez encore que les États-Unis sont un pays sûr et donc ils respectent l'entente?
À ce moment-ci, à ce moment actuel, oui. Parce que le système de cour aux États-Unis continue de fonctionner. On vient de le voir avec des jugements à Boston et d'autres parts des États-Unis. Mais alors, Madame.
Radio-Canada.
Oui.
Est-ce que vous demandez une majorité aux Canadiens?
Non, non. On cherche les votes des Canadiens. On cherche le soutien des Canadiens. Nous sommes humbles. On dévoile nos idées. On lutte pour nos initiatives. Mais ce sera les décisions de chaque Canadien et Canadienne.
Vous ne demandez pas une majorité?
Oui, on a une vote comme citoyenne. C'est pas une boîte pour...
Et vous, est-ce que
Merci.
vous voulez...
On va maintenant passer aux
Je
questions
comprends votre
des médias
question,
locaux.
mais-
Merci. We're now
The media
speaking
local.
5 minutes of local questions.
Yeah,
Thank you.
HCH News. You faced many comments yesterday during the debate about having advised Justin Trudeau, about being similar to Justin Trudeau. What do you say to Canadians who are concerned that your Liberal government would be much of the same?
Well, look, I mean, I think I answered that very directly. I'll answer it to you. I mean, Justin Trudeau is gone. I am not Justin Trudeau. And you can see in the first month of my being Prime Minister many of the differences. We canceled the carbon tax. We rolled back the capital gains hike. Huge focus on the economy. Ability to bring together all the provinces to get, for agreements. Diversification of our security partnerships with Australia, with the UK, with France, with the European Union. A totally different approach to housing. A openness and breadth of our energy superpower policy. So I can go on, but I'm going to let your colleague in local media ask the following question, I guess.
Hi, it's Ray Spiteri. I'm a reporter with the Niagara Falls Review.
Great.
Obviously, we're here. The United States is right
Just-
across over
just
there.
there.
Your press conferences between the American and the Canadian Horseshoe Falls. There's a lot of people here that have family on both
Yeah.
sides of the border, businesses that rely on trade between both sides of the border. Can you comment just to the local community about how they're feeling right now, and sort of if we're ever going to get back to a sense of normalcy?
Look, I think, well, yeah, thank you for the question. I think there's several aspects of that. One is just, this is a difficult time. for Canadians, and I especially in border communities where the ties are even deeper. I mean, the ties Canada and the U.S. are very deep, but they're even deeper in this community, as you say, ties of blood and workplaces and others. This is going. The situation is very fluid. It will not fully go back to where it was. The U.S. has changed its priorities. This is not a little thing, and we have to be clear-eyed about that. What is going to get the best result for Canadians is to be strong. To be strong. And the best way for us to be strong is to be strong at home. And so our focus is on building at home and rebuilding, or building, I would say is a better way to say it, building a new relationship, a new economic security relationship with the United States. It will be better than it is now, but it won't go back to what it was before. Thank you.
Thank you. This puts an end to our press conference. C'est ce qui m'a fait à notre conférence de presse. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.